Welcome back to the Ponca City Monthly Podcast. Can you believe it? We've already made it halfway. We're to the end of September, and we're heading into October. Can you believe that? It's crazy how fast this year is going. This month in our publication, we had a great article about Scouting America and the Boy Scouts. And so we thought we'd bring in Michael to talk to us a little bit about it. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about what you do for Scouts of America.
So I am one of the few employees in the council that has several distinct roles. I am a district executive for the 101 and Pawnee Bill districts. So that means I am the unit serving professional in the area. I help the units recruit kids. I help the units raise money. I help the units get appropriate volunteer leadership so that they can deliver the mission of scouting to the youth in the community.
Sure.
I'm responsible for the fundraising aspect of what goes on to help provide for these kids to do the things in the local district, which is Osage, and parts of Osage and parts of Grant County for the 101, and manpower to help get people in the community to help deliver the mission of scouting in the community so that they best serve the youth in the community. Mm-hmm. My boss, and Mr. Jeff Woolsey, he's one of the top scout executives in the country. He has a saying that we are to get kids in scouting and keep them in scouting.
Yeah.
Because the mission of scouting is to turn your kids into moral, upstanding adults that follow the scout oath and law.
Yeah. How did you initially get involved in all of that? Like how long, did you start out as a kid?
Brilliant. Yes, I did. My older brother was a scout, and so I thought, man, that looks cool. He gets to go camping and do all that stuff. So when I was in 5th grade or 11 years old, 6th grade is when you can start scouts. That's from when you're 6th grade or 11 all the way until you're an adult 18. That's when I started. In Norman, I got my Eagle Scout out of a troop 219 out of the Goodrich United Memorial Methodist Church there in town. I still believe that troop exists. My older brother got his Eagle Scout, and I just thought, I get a weekend every month to go camping. I get, you get to do fun games. You get to learn all these cool things outside of school. It just appealed to me in every which way because it provided things that weren't sports. Mm-hmm. Which I was involved in as well. But to become a professional in scouting, after school, I had various jobs. I helped at an immigration law firm get visas for people. I did contract work in terms of building houses and remodeling houses. I managed Radio Shacks and worked for Cox Communications, and got kind of pulled into the nonprofit world based upon my degree in college. I got a multiple disciplinary studies degree in nonprofit management. It's a build your own degree. I went to school for a long time, couldn't decide, had a bunch of things, rolled it into an MDS major about nonprofits in the hope that I could do youth sports leagues, Norman Optimist Club, or because I saw a lot of value in team sports. And a job opening came up to be a district executive with the Boy Scouts out of the Last Frontier Council. And let's see what that's all about. And being an Eagle Scout, I had experience with, but not the experience that would have been professionally beneficial in scouting. I learned that it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of sales, it's a lot of front-facing, positivity, outwardly serving the people in the community, which was great. But as a district executive, I don't get to go camping. I don't get to run a unit. I don't get to do the fun activities with anybody. My job is to get kids in scouting, keep them in scouting by delivering the best possible program through qualified supervision and the appropriate safety measures that go along with the fun yet risky things that we offer kids. Adventure. You can't have an adventure without a little bit of risk, right? And so the district executive part of that is getting the kids in scouting, keeping them in scouting, getting the funding and adults trained to make sure that they have the program. I also am the ranger of one of our 400-acre properties that's outside of a town called Cleveland here in Oklahoma. So I have several roles that are distinct from each other. So when we just talked earlier, I had a maintenance issue come up at camp. So thank you for working with me to reschedule this podcast. And it just so happened that it worked out on a day where I'm in town. I'm talking to kids at assemblies, getting them pumped up about scouts, and hosting a sign-up night tonight. So
yeah. So you mentioned in your text that we had last week. Today you were teaching kids about the flag?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Sweet. So at Liberty Elementary, I've been going around to the schools and we do scout talks. Some of the schools allow us to go 60 seconds room to room, get the kids jazzed up about Cub Scouts, get their parents to come to a sign-up night. The principal at Liberty said, hey, do you mind helping our fifth graders learn about the American flag? So after the assembly this morning, the fifth graders came out. We taught both fifth grade classes how to fold and respect the American flag, how to put up and take down the American flag off a pole, and some of what the meaning behind the stars, stripes, blue field are on the flag, and what it means to people like us in Scouts as part of a patriotic organization, what it means to veterans who have served this country, what it means to patriots of this country who love and respect America, and how the origins of the Star-Spangled Banner were about, young men holding our flag up in defiance to the British tyranny and often losing their lives for it. And that's, so Mr. Fincher asked if we would do that with the fifth graders. And so one of my top volunteers, and Mr. Lowry Blakeburn, and I helped for probably 30 minutes quickly. Every kid got to put their hands on, respectfully fold, hold, and learn how to put up and down the flag. And I believe Mr. Fincher is now part of the fifth grade thing, is in the mornings. They're going to have a group of them do the flags.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in school. Do kids still do that? Do they still fold the flag? Like I know in my elementary school, every morning we put up the flag. Every night we folded it. Is that still a thing?
I would say it's like a per school. The experience at this school was limited. So it was first time for these students to do that. So and in fifth grade. So I don't know I'm not a teacher.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure curriculums about different things in the classroom are what they are, and teachers deliver them as good as possible.
Yeah.
But there are things that you learn in life and outside of school that you learn in scouting. And so in the elementary school level, what we try to get these kids to do is do their best. That's the Cub Scout motto. Do your best. The Scout Oath and Law it remains from when they're little, 5 years old, all the way to when they're 18. But part of that is you get to do things that you don't exactly do in school. You get to learn about things that you don't exactly learn about in school because there's not exactly the time. Teachers have a big burden to be able to teach kids to read and write and do arithmetic and base level. Like the amount, I do not envy teachers at all. They have a tough job.
They do.
I have the fun job of like the fun job of the fun activities because they've already taught them how to read and write and do the things, right? And so if I can throw a little bit of patriotic respect for the flag, outdoor skills, appropriate risk taking, appropriate peer selection into the mix, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. So you were mentioning that you're kind of the guy that's over everything here. Do you have to go to all the different, I mean, not have to, but do you get to go to all the different groups?
I love how you change that. The have to get to. No, that's a brilliant way to put it. So I would talk to every school in the district. It's my job to offer scouting to every kid that lives in my district. So it's not, while I am the units we have in district right now are in Ponca City, but I have a new unit scheduled to go up in Newkirk, hopefully by October. I have a new scheduled to go up in Blackwell, hopefully by October. I do cover all of the elementary schools, McCord, all the way to Woodlands, which is in Fairfax, Tonkawa, Blackwell, Peckham, Newkirk, and then the suite of schools in Ponca City. So go to an assembly, go class to class, get the kids pumped up about fishing and s'mores and bows and arrows.
Sure.
Get them to convince their parents to come to a sign-up night. Sign them up. Get them into one of the units in town.
Something that for me might be kind of weird and interesting is that I grew up in a big city. So like fishing and being out in the wilderness was like wild, like, you know. But here in a more rural area, do you still get the same excitement level of, oh my gosh, we get to go fishing and we get to go camping?
Yeah. Yes. If you were to see these assemblies of the way kids, because I try to make a quiet riot. I know how hard it is to keep an assembly in order with kids. So it's like, get them excited, get them quiet, get them excited, get them quiet, sure. Right? To a kid, who in here wants to go fishing? 95% of them.
Okay, good.
Who in here would like to go swimming? 95% of them. Who in here wants to learn how to shoot bows and arrows? Eat s'mores. Do homework. I'm just kidding. But it's whatever I can do to get youth off screen.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, that was going to be my question.
Explore the outside. Explore fun activities that you can decide for yourself that you don't like, or don't let somebody dictate, whether you're in kindergarten or a senior in high school, what it is that you find passion in. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to go fish, I have the opportunity to provide that. If what you want to do is get really good at STEM activities, there's robotics and model rockets and those kinds of things. Scouting is really for everybody to do. And if kids don't like it, they speak with their feet. Mm-hmm. But again, it's, how do I get back to your question? It's not so much that the rural area is different than the urban. Mm-hmm. All kids love doing stuff outside. Like, they love doing stuff outside. Kids love playing in the rain. It's the parents, you know what I mean? Like, it's so the thing that you find different is what we offered elementary school kids are bows and arrows and BBs. Mm-hmm. Once you get older, we offer the Olympic style shooting sports, shotgun skeet and 22s and stuff like that. But you'll come across fifth graders that have hunted deers with their parents.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That was, I guess, what I meant was that, that kind of outdoorsy life is a little more common, I guess, here. So I was just wondering, if you still get the same excitement
I think it
level.
helps.
Yeah.
I think it adds to your scouting experience because you have other experience when it comes to it. And scouting is really about the youth leading the youth, right? In once you get older into scouts, there's a patrol leader. That patrol leader talks to a senior patrol leader. The kids organize themselves for activities. They organize themselves for what merit badges they want to work on. They make the plan to do that. They lead each other. The adults, trained adults, supervise that kind of thing, giving the kids the right direction. It's the same in Cub Scouts. I was at a Cub Scout meeting the other week, and there was a second grader teaching all the other second graders how to make paper mache. It's not just the outdoor activities that they get to do that is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
What we're these kids are getting flour and eggs and pulling ingredients out, making the cake themselves when they come to Cub Scouts. Watch, I want to say it was a fourth grader at Cub Scouts teach the other fourth graders how to make a baking soda and vinegar fire extinguisher out of a 2-liter.
Wow.
And so, yes, it is a little more difficult, but in urban areas, they have their own challenges as well.
Yeah.
Because I would say, while still it's more urban than Ponca, Stillwater's still fairly rural. I cover there as well. It's not really until you get into inner Oklahoma City or inner Tulsa to where the programming becomes different, very different. They have it's more of an after school style program. Sure. They offer it to as many kids as possible. Sometimes they get teachers to supplement the program. That really is about get these kids an opportunity to get out of the urban jungle, get them off of a screen, get them outside, take them on a hike. There are, you can learn a lot from nature. You can learn a lot about yourself from nature, resilience and a curiosity fulfillment that you can't necessarily get on a screen in a room.
And I guess that was going to be one of my questions was like, do you find the challenge of getting kids? Because I taught an art camp this summer, and I have to tell you that it's been a while since I've taught a camp, but it just seemed like if I blinked, those kids had their cell phones out. Like, how do you combat that? Like, how do you get them to put their phones down and see the beauty of the world outside?
That's very astute because the world is very beautiful outside. There's no Wi-Fi out at my camp unless you're up at one of the main buildings, like the admin building, which would require internet to be able to communicate, right? Mm-hmm. So the kids don't get the Wi-Fi when they're in their campsites. The unit level, they probably collect the phones. Each group is going to be different. Each unit is its own leadership, and they have their own guidelines. Mm-hmm. Some may allow a phone, some do not. But we try to just nix it. And then we fill up their day with so much stuff that they don't have time. And then when they go to things like summer camp, it's not necessarily me and other, like I said, it's the summer camp staff that I had, out of the 42 people that were teaching, 21 of them were 14 to 18-year-olds. 21 of them were adults because it's required. But the kids teach. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that when you get a good kid up there teaching, the other kids are just eat it up so much more than when it's an adult up there. And so part of it is that youth-ledness that keeps the phones down, because they really are more interested in learning from other kids and peers in that aspect. And then again, we take them and do activities to where it's like you're not going to have an opportunity because you need to look at the trail that you're walking in front of you so you don't trip, right? We try to put the activity in front of them at a meeting. Hey, we're going to be at this meeting on Monday from 6:30 to 7:30. This month we're doing the hiking merit badge. So during this first meeting, we're going to go over how to fill packs. During the next meeting, we're going to make a menu for the camp out, and and so we fill them up and fill up their time and let them go. You know,
because there is a lot to do. I have to tell you that I was a Cub Scout in the 80s.
Nice.
So I'm sure it's changed. Do you still have the big thick book that they get?
Yeah.
Do they still get the book and they still have to go through all of that?
You still get a scout book. It's not a bound book anymore. They've improved. It's the ring, ringed book that folds and opens. But from kindergarten through 5th grade, they're lions, tigers, wolves, bears, weeblos in that order. And then once you're a scout, and the ranks go scout, tenderfoot, second class, first class, star, life, eagle. And those are for everybody. When you and I were in it as youth, it was just little boys. And then young men as they went through. And then girls could join as 14 and up in exploring and venturing. Cub Scouts is for the whole family. We want brothers and sisters, if they're in different grades, to be participating. We would like the whole family, mom, dad, guardians, to come participate. And it's not like baseball, cheerleading, football, where you just have to be a fan from the sideline. We would love parent active participation in their kids' lives in promoting these activities. Once you get into scouts, it becomes, how do you say this? You can kind of watch them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Instead of the active parents are still important in scouts because there's committee meetings, there's bigger planning, there's more events, there's more moving parts. But you don't have to supervise. They are capable, more capable themselves of taking care of those things as through ranks. But it's boys and girls all alike. Mm-hmm. So it is. There's nothing gender specific about being trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, or reverent. Mm-hmm. There's nothing gender specific about being on my honor, doing your best to do your duty to God and your country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep yourself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. There's nothing gender specific about being prepared. There's nothing gender specific about doing your best. There's nothing gender specific about doing a good turn daily. These are all things that I think young parents would love for young men to find in wives when they get older. And I think these are all aspects that parents would love for their daughters to find in husbands when they get older. And so that is a little bit of a change since you and I were in it as kids, but it's all for the better. Yeah. It's all for the betterment of what the kids get to. Again, the mission isn't cool outdoor activities. That's the icing. The mission is make sure your kids grow up to be moral, character adults of good character that follow the Scout oath and law.
So you were mentioning that your base camp is in Cleveland. So tell me a little bit about the camp now. So if I'm here in Ponca City and we're going to go on a camp out, do we go to Cleveland or do we go like to the lake, or how does that work?
Brilliant. So the units can go where they plan. Mm-hmm. My campground is the Will Rogers Scout Reservation. It is a Last Frontier Council property of which they own several. One is called Kerr. It's down in Tishomingo. Diamond H is in Apache. George Thomas is outside of Lawton. Dripping Springs is outside of Custer City. William Scout Reservation is right outside of Cleo Springs, or outside of Enid. I think I've named them all. But you don't have to go to a council-owned property. Mm-hmm. For instance, there's Camp Stapley. You can camp almost anywhere, mm-hmm. As long as you do it responsibly and make sure you get permissions and things like that. But each unit to their own. They have their own calendar. Scouts, 6th grade and up, they do a week of summer camp. We have one down in Tishomingo, but there's one in every council, basically. So sometimes you travel, sometimes you go to Colorado. We had a group of scouts go to Manny Point, which I believe is in Minnesota, this summer. So it's not just come to my campground, but there is a big campground, and you can come and explore it, and it's about an hour away. As long as you're a scout, right?
Yeah.
Those campgrounds, there's like maybe a half a dozen or 8 of them around the state, of which the council owns. But there are campgrounds all along the Arkansas, all along different lakes around town, not just around town, around the state. And as long as you've national parks that are in the state, it's not too far of a jaunt to go to the Buffalo River in Arkansas, which is a national river. And there's parks associated with it. So the individual unit plans their calendar for a year, and so they give their best to that unit. The parents have the best plan. We're going here this time. We might go to Fort Sill to do Citizenship in the Nation merit badge, things like that.
Speaking of merit badges, which one is your favorite merit badge? And what's your favorite to help young people work through?
Small boat sailing.
Small boat sailing,
yeah.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I must have got that merit badge 6 times. Every time we went to summer camp, after the first summer camp where I got small boat sailing, I did small boat. Even though I had the merit badge, I was like, do they have sailing? Well, they got motorboating. And do they have sailing? You already have do they have sailing? And I'm from Oklahoma, born and raised in Norman, landlocked kid. Yeah. When I found sailing, small boats, I was, oh man, why? I should have been a pirate. I couldn't believe it. And kids that have earned canoeing and rowing and the other boating merit badges, when you get them sailing, there's just something about riding the wind. Like there's just something about small boat sailing on a little lake or a little, that I ended up being able to take my older sister and my mom with my brother on a catamaran at her destination wedding out in the ocean. My brother and I, because we were both good at small boat sailing. And so you never know when things like that will pay off. And then you see the joy in kids' face when they realize that they can go like faster than the rowboats and canoes just by holding a rope and just do. It's a brilliant, brilliant merit badge. You have to tip the boat over. You have to tip the boat over. Swamp it.
Okay.
You have to ride it and sail it back. So it's very challenging.
Sure.
But I think it's easier than doing it when it's a swamp canoe. There's just something about small boat sailing to me was just the bee's knees.
Wow. So in the years that you've done that, have the boats that you've been able to sail gotten bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you started out on a small little boat and then now you're up to big boats.
It's so funny. So yeah, you start out at scout camp on something like a 12 or 14 foot dolphin or sunfish. That's the name of the boat, a dolphin or sunfish. Yeah. And that's typically a 2 or 3 person. There's a little pit. You sit around and then you can work your way up to, at camp, I think I have a 22-foot sailboat that's a little too big for the pond I have, but you can take it to Lake Keystone and Lake Cleveland and sail it around there. All the way up to, like I said, it was the only thing available, and it was a catamaran with 2 15-foot buoys. And it was by far the biggest thing and it was on the ocean. when I was like, oh, it can't be that much different. And it wasn't. It was a little different, but it wasn't that much different. And my brother, who also was an Eagle Scout with a small boat sailing merit badge, knew exactly how, like, it was just funny how he and I had never sailed together. We both had the small boat sailing merit badge. The things you learn as a 14-year-old, like I got it 13, 14, 15, 16. I must have got the small boat sailing merit badge 5 times because I loved sailing. I loved it. I loved it.
That's awesome.
So it's just funny. That's the first time anybody's ever asked that, and and it's a funny thing because you'd think, but there's a place in Florida called Sea Base. It's a high adventure base that's owned by the Scouts. So you go with your troop of older 14 and up, and you can take a sailboat throughout the Caribbean for 10 days.
Wow.
And I say take a sailboat. You and your group sail a sailboat. You are the sailors around the Caribbean for a week. We never got to do that as Scouts. That's one of those things. So if I have any units that are watching this podcast that go to Sea Base, please invite me. I will go.
You want to do that? I would think that cruising around Lake Ponca compared to the Caribbean would be a little scary.
I haven't seen. Are there boats out? I haven't seen. I've driven around Lake Ponca, but I've not. Are people allowed to boat out there?
They do have boat. I may be thinking of Call Lake.
And then also I was like the Sooner Lake or the one that's down by the power plant. I've seen boats out on, and so we could technically bring the small boat over there and sail on it. Like it's tagged, it's titled. I'd have to have the right leaders and the right leaders with the right training. But there are groups in Oklahoma City that are a scout, like a scout troop is typically the thing. There are Sea Scouts that they're not. I think they're still a troop, but they have a boat. And so they just sail. Wow. I think there's one at Lake. What's the one that's right off of the Oklahoma City? Or no, Draper. Lake Stanley Draper, I think, has a Sea Scout.
Wow. And that's just their thing, is they
love sailing and they focus on sailing.
And how did you not end up in that group?
From Norman, there were other cool things in Norman that we got to do. There was an exploring post that was part of the Norman Regional Hospital. That's another thing that Scouts offer. It's exploring, it's career-based units. And so we don't currently have any of those in Ponca City, but in Norman, there was an exploring post for the fire department, an exploring post for police, and an exploring post at the hospital. Well, the exploring post at the hospital got to be stretcher crew for home OU games for free.
Wow.
So I joined that exploring post as soon as I turned 14, and I sat through so many home OU games as a stretch for people in the stands that get injured and you got to take down to the little medical area. Scouting provides so many wonderful options for kids that there's more to do than your kid could possibly fathom.
One of the things that I know about Scouts is that when you get to be an Eagle Scout, you do your project. Mm-hmm. What was your project? Do you remember?
Man, I do remember, and it pales in comparison to some of these projects now. When I did my Eagle Scout project, Norman North was relatively new. It had its own sports fields, but still being relatively new. I was the softball sports trainer for girls softball while I was in high school. And I recognized that they just were throwing their bats and helmets, and there was no boxes so we built some batter's boxes and helmet boxes and stuff for the Norman North High School girls dugouts and the visitor dugout, so that they did it so girls could put helmets up and put bats up. They did.
That sounds pretty important.
Yeah, it was, and it felt good, and I went to school there, and I think they lasted several years, but it wasn't one of those things that lasts forever. One of the kids in this town, a kid named Ted Fusselman, I believe is his name, Theodore Ted. He won the district's Best Eagle Project Award. He identified and made a route and a document that identified veterans graves at Oddfellows.
Okay. Wow.
So they could be memorialized appropriately during holidays, I believe, at like a huge section. I should have learned more about his project specifically, but he won, voted on by not me, right?
Nice.
Like no bias. A group decided his project was the best. But another young man, Chris Wynn, built a flag retirement pit at the American Legion, and it's a really nice concrete and stone fire pit so that the community can appropriately retire flags.
I know there's I hike a lot at Osage out there. I don't know what it's called. Osage, where the lake is. I don't know.
That Osage historical trail, but where the big orange buffalo is over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. This is actually by the lake. I want to say Osage Cove, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then there is an eagle. One Eagle Scout made like I think where you can actually watch eagles. It's like
they're like a bald eagle viewing.
Yeah.
Oh my! I see.
And I'm sorry, I don't know the kid's name. Because
Me either.
I just see the big statue and like says that you can go that way, and usually I have my dog, and
so here's the brilliant thing. Those Eagle Scouts remember their projects, and because you're leading kids and groups and other things in the community to get these things done. There's a young lady who's doing an Eagle Scout project right now for new and expectant mothers for one of the groups that helps supporting with cribs and donations and raising some money. But that's what the Eagle Scout projects are. The whole point of an Eagle Scout project isn't that they come and improve my camp. Like, the point of the Eagle Scout project is you have to do something that improves your community.
Yeah.
And so some of them range. There's a kid who got the donations and built a multi-million-dollar 10 Commandments retaining wall down towards Lawton.
Wow.
Or something along those lines. But some Eagle projects I couldn't have fathomed.
Sure.
That end up so great. And then, but no Eagle project is too small.
Sure.
Again, it's about what that kid found some passion about doing to improve their community and then led other kids in getting accomplished. That's what it's about. Like, I'll bring him up because he's an outstanding volunteer for me, and Mr. Lowry Blakeburn, but he's retired. Well, you'd say he's retired because he'd say he's retired, but he works 40 hours a week building ramps in the community for people, doing taxes for people, helping people with their medical supplement information, helping scout units. He must spend 12 to 20 hours a week helping me with scout stuff. And so these young people that earn Eagle Scout, they turn into old people that just help communities, that just help. Because
they're taught that. They're taught to do that. Yeah.
Not just taught, they also taught that as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that you reap what you sow in a positive aspect. Yeah, I mean, it works towards the negative too. Like, let's not poo-poo on that. But the idea is there's not good or bad jobs. There's not good or bad days. It's like how you go about your job, how you go about your task, how you go about your day is how it's going to be. You're making that choice. And so we help get these young people to do their best and to lead other young people in doing their best and improving their community, serving others. Like, if what you do is serve others really well, like, you're going to have an outstanding life. You're going to have an outstanding life. The praise and wonders, you'll find all the riches, tangible and intangible, you desire if what you do is diligently do your best to serve other people.
Tell me, so the article that we have this month in Ponca City Monthly is specifically about the changeover, and tell me a little bit about that. We went from being
one council to being merged.
Yeah,
sweet.
So, and is that when they come under your leadership?
Yes and no. So the way the Boy Scouts of America or Scouting America works is there's a national group, nationally, Boy Scouts of America, right, nationally. But that's all distributed through the local council. And right now we have merged with the Last Frontier Council, who's headquartered out of Oklahoma City. I'm going to say this with the most confidence I possibly can. If they rated councils in tiers, there's no doubt that the Last Frontier Council would have been top tier in every measurable metric. The Cimarron Council, which we used to be, it was the northern-ish part of Oklahoma. So it covered from Woodward, Enid, Kingfisher, Stillwater, Ponca, Cleveland, right? It had, as the council, it became financially unsustainable to continue. And with that, there's bills that everything, my camp it's not free. There's bills that go along with the properties. There's bills that go along with the professionals in the area being able to do their job. And it got to a point where the small council that we were, the Cimarron Council, was not able to be sustained. And instead of letting scouting perish in the area, we merged with an appropriate council. There were options to merge with there's more than one council in Oklahoma. There were options. But what was best for the youth and communities in the area was to merge with the Last Frontier Council. They have the resources and staff experience to fully staff the area, to take on all of the things that a council needs to take on so that we can fulfill the mission of scouting, of turning young people into moral, upstanding adults that follow the Scout Oath and Law, and to follow my boss's mission of getting as many youth in scouting and keeping as many youth in scouting for as long as possible because we have a great program. So when we merged, it was a benefit to the youth, to the community, and to us that are professional employees paid by the council, because it meant we got to keep our jobs. I didn't lose my job because the council didn't perish. We merged with another council. It changed my responsibilities a little bit. I was just the ranger. I just took care of the property. They have some more resources to be able to take care of the property better. So it doesn't have to be a one-man fixing things. It's you can get vendors and people and licenses and volunteers and get the appropriate work done as quickly as possible through the appropriate funding guidelines, etc. Nothing gets to fall apart because we can't afford to fix it anymore. That's a benefit. That's a benefit to everybody. That's a benefit to the safety and security of camps and the property and scouting as a whole. So they shift some of my responsibilities to district executiving, and I'm happy to do that. Again, we are all in the acres of diamonds. Like, don't go selling your property for greener pastures when your pasture is probably unlimited. So the idea being, I'm going to continue to do my best in my job, which is several-fold now, but to deliver the mission of scouting to the youth and community of the areas that I serve. Mm-hmm. And the merge has allowed for that to happen because of the leadership and guidance and financial stability of the Last Frontier Council.
Since this is your job, go ahead and make a speech for me. Why should my child join Scouts?
Why should your child join Scouts? I've got a million answers. A million answers.
Your favorite one.
But the best answer is there are limited opportunities where you get to feel real pride about what your child is accomplishing in life as a parent. Not fake pride, not an everybody award, and don't get me wrong, not just a clap because they did good at the assembly, but real pride because you saw your child overcome some adversity. You saw your child take appropriate risk-taking behavior and come out on the other end of it positively. They didn't shy away from something because they were scared. They exuded bravery. The same pride that you get to feel when your kid hits a home run that's for that one game, you get to feel knowing that something that they've accomplished is going to stick with them for basically their whole life. Whether they learned it when they were 7 or whether they did it when they were 17, as a parent, you are going to get to see and witness real growth in your child, real pride in your child from overcoming adversity and doing fun yet difficult things and living out an adventure that gets them off screens and gets them to appreciate the outdoors and other people more.
Michael, I asked you what your favorite badge was. What is your least favorite? You have to have one. We all
I do.
Have one.
It's funny that you say that because it's an Eagle required merit badge. It's
okay. You don't have to like every single thing.
No, it's fine. It's all right. And so you have to do these funny merit badges. One's called citizenship in the nation. One's called citizenship in the community. One's called citizenship in the world, right? Well, in citizenship in the community, and Kelsey may not like me saying this, you have to go to city council meetings. You have to go and sit in city. Yeah. You have to. So if you get citizenship in the community merit badge, which is an Eagle required merit badge, which kids have to do, you have to go learn how like the civics of a city work, which means you have to go sit in like city council meetings and do other things and interview city council members. And they're all typical. As a kid, my thought was like, they're busy running the city, so why do they want to have an interview with me? So that was mine. I didn't like having to go sit in city council meetings. But note, I'm not running for mayor. So
yeah. But it wasn't like because you seem like a very animated guy, so it wasn't like you were shy about talking in public. That doesn't doesn't seem to be a thing for you.
I do like. I read somewhere one time that the number one fear people have isn't dying; it's public speaking.
Amen.
I do not have that fear. That is not something I'm worried about. But as you can tell, I'm animated. I'm rather vocal. I'm fidgety. Like you had to sit and observe city council meetings. That is not my strong suit.
Very cool. All right. Michael, is there anything that we maybe didn't cover that you were hoping we could talk about or anything like that?
I just wanted to express like sincere gratitude for the article. I was sitting there eating lunch, flipping. Holy cow! Thank you so much. And then my boss was like, "Who wrote that?" I was like, "They put it together themselves." They're like, "That is really nice." And then for this podcast, thank you. And to Kelsey, thank you. The only lasting message I would have is we are always looking to improve and build the district. So if there's anything in you listening to this podcast that says, I'd like to help Michael with scouting in the district, please get a Ponca Monthly, get my phone number and my email, which are both available in there. And it is in my pocket all the time. I get emails and phone calls, 150 of them a day. I'd love it to be yours saying, I'd love to help with scouting in the district.
Because there are lots of jobs that you can do from
making a newsletter to setting up campouts to helping me get flyer. Like the number of jobs are nearly unlimited to be able to help out in some small fashion. Scouting would say in 1 hour a week. I'm not going to sell that to you, because we all know that if you do anything for an hour a week, that's not true. But 15 minutes a day, if you were willing to give 15 minutes a day to helping me out in terms of district leadership, that adds up to a couple hours a week.
And this is something that directly impacts the youth or the young people in our community. So it's not like your 15 minutes is just going out to the wind.
Correct. It is directly benefiting your community, your kids in your community, and the people that they serve in terms of food drives, Eagle Scout projects, helping improve chartered organizations, litter pickup, things of that nature. And if you see kids out selling popcorn, please buy some.
Buy some popcorn because it's good popcorn.
It is excellent. It's so
really good popcorn.
It is so good.
We have I would say maybe a little biased on our staff because Kelsey is very involved in Scouts. So,
it's not often you walk into strokes of luck.
Yeah.
And the involved adults that I stepped into here in Ponca City had been kind of doing it on their own for so long that there are several of them, Kelsey and her husband, Jade being one, Lowry, Miss Lisa Isley, the Winds. There are several scouting families in this community that just really have done a lot. Like I don't want to say too much, but the burden has been on a few.
Yeah.
And if we were able to expand that a little bit, I really think Ponca City, specifically this area, can be a bastion for scouting. Like, it can be the safe place on the wall from which scouting expands, because it's perfect for this community. The way the neighborhoods are set up, it's perfect to have a pack at each school. It's just, it needs to grow to that.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. And be sure to check in with us next week. We also have that great article that you can find on our website. We'll make a link in the comments below. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Come back next week.